scatter plots and lines of best fit. This will kind of take us into curve of best fit, which is our last topic that we need to cover for your SOL test. So first, let's review how do you get the line of best fit. So what I want you guys to do is to take your calculators, and we're going to input this data into your calculator. All right, so you remember for line of best fit, we hit stat, and let me clear this out. All right, so we're going to hit stat first, and then you hit enter. And some of you might even want to write these steps down. Okay, to get to doing the line of best fit, you hit stat, and then you hit enter. And now you're going to just enter in the meal cost on page 13 into L1 and the tip into L2. Okay, so I'm going to pause this and type that in, and you can type it in as well. All right, so once you have your data in, you go back to stat again. Okay, then we're going to go across the top, arrow over to calc, and then line of best fit is option number 4. And then we just keep hitting enter until we see the slope and y-intercept. Oh, I had an error message, so I have to. Okay, let me go back and check my table. All right, so this is the corrected answer. So you should have like 0.16 and negative 0.3. Okay, if you round to 299. All right. So let me see what I had written down. Okay, I actually wrote down y equals, how come I had a plus? Was yours a minus or a plus? All right, I think it's a negative. All right, and so let me just change that. Now what we need to do is it says if the next meal costing $10.50, how much would you leave for a tip? So this would be like, remember meal cost right here, because you always want to pay attention to how it's labeled. This is your X and this is your Y. So don't always think that they're giving you X. In this case, they are, because they could have reversed it and said, if I paid $20 for a tip, what was the cost of the meal? Okay, so you got to pay attention if you're looking for X, or if you're looking, if they're giving you X, or if they're giving you Y. So they are giving us X. So that means we can go ahead and hit your Y equals key. I won't do it this time, so I'll walk you through it. Put this equation into your Y equals, and then you're going to change your table set to 10.5. You know how you do second window? Change X to 10.5, and then when you go back to the table, it should be right at the top. So some people say they got 138. As long as you got 130 something, all right, it should be close enough. Because again, these are predictions, so it's okay if it's off by a few pennies. So we've done line of best fit before, so I'm going to have you guys, as I just ran you through the steps, I'm going to have you all go ahead and put in science exam, final grade, and you're going to do the same thing. You're going to find the line of best fit. We're still doing reviewing line of best fit. And then you're going to make a prediction if a student who studied for 6 hours, what type of grade would you expect them to get on the exam? Okay, so pause it. Put in your data and answer those questions, okay? Okay, all right, so this is what you should have when you finish. Y equals 6.09x plus 63.93, and we're going to say, obviously, 100%. So, the relationship is here. The more hours you study, expect to get a better score. Okay, and obviously that just makes sense. Okay, you would hope your score will be going up, not down, if you're studying more hours. Okay. All right, so we have one more. Okay, so I'm going to have you guys pause this again and go ahead and put in these values. And then you're going to predict the weight of sand. Sand shark whose length is 75 inches. Now it says predict the weight, but they give you length and width here, so I'm not sure if they meant really width, because we're only comparing length and width. All right, so go ahead and see what you get for this. So we'll pause it again. All right, very good. So for this one, your equation should be 4.36x minus 156.14, and then it says put in x as 75, so you can basically change your window, second window, and it should pair up with 170.86. Okay, so that's just reviewing what we already know about line of best fit. Now we're going to do what we call a curve of best fit. And let's go to page 15. If everybody would go to page 15. All right, so there's really only one difference when you're doing the curve of best fit, because it's like a quadratic curve. So instead of hitting option 4, you're going to see something on your calculator. Let me show it to you. So when I go back to stat this time and I go over to calc, see how it says quad? So if it says you want a curve of best fit, you're looking for a quadratic regression. 4 is called a linear regression. Okay, so that means a line. If we say we want a curve of best fit, we're talking about a quadratic regression. So you just hit option 5. Now what happens when you hit option 5, let me show you. You're not going to just end up with an A and a B, because in a quadratic equation, you have A, B, and C. So you're going to actually have 3 numbers. So like the first number then will be like your squared term, the B will be your x term, and the C will be your constant, because it is a quadratic equation. Okay, so it's going to look this way versus having a linear equation. So what I would like for you to do is to go ahead and put this data in. Okay, put this into you still go back to stat, all of that's the same. Enter your data into your table. Okay, stat and enter. And I have already entered mine, so you can, just go ahead and stop it and go ahead and enter your data in. Okay, so once you have your numbers in, you go back to stat just like you normally do. You go over to calc, but since in the directions will say find the equation of the quadratic curve of best fit. So it gives your hint quad, number 5. Okay, and then again, just keep hitting enter. And you should have these 3 numbers. How many people had these 3 numbers? All right, great. So now we're just going to write that down on our note sheet. And it basically looks like that. Okay, y equals negative 0.06x squared plus 0.92x. Well, could have been 90. I had 0.92. This says 0.93. Anyway, plus 6.02. All right. So here's the key word right here. It didn't say line of best fit. It says quadratic curve. So it's just option number 5. Okay. All right. Now we're going to move on to number 8. Okay. So let's go down to number 8. We don't need to answer part 2. Let's go down to number 8. And we're going to do the same thing. Okay, it's asking for the quadratic relationship. So, you're looking for, again, use your graphing calculator to come up with the curve of best fit. All right, so pause that and go ahead and, all right. So your equation should come out to be y equals negative 3x squared plus 2x plus 1. Now I want you to go to your table when x is 4 and tell me what the y value is. And then you'll have to change your table for part C when x is 1.5. Okay, who has the prediction when x equals to 4? Okay. All right, negative 39. And this one right here, when you put the when you put the positive 1.5 in, second window, you should get negative 2.75. Is that what you had? Okay. All right. So that's the end of the lesson for line of best fit and curve of best fit. Finish up question number 9 as your rest of your classwork. And then you're going to start on working on the SOL packet that you got today.